Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Elspeth and I am the soy-free chef. It is my mission to give you tips and recipes to living a soy-free lifestyle. Today we're gonna be making cilantro, garlic, spelt flour flatbreads. That's a tongue twister, but they're so good. Soy can be found in a lot of bread products. You'll see it as soy lecithin, or vegetable oil is most often soybean oil. So for us in our household, we found that just making some sort of bread is much better than going to the store and buying it. So for this recipe, you are going to need some active dry yeast. 1 packet will do. I have bulk yeast, so it's the equivalent to 2 1/4 teaspoon of dry active yeast. And then you'll need cilantro, garlic, some good quality butter. I use unsalted, but you can use salted if that's what you have at home. Some sugar, whole milk, yogurt, but you can use any variety of yogurt that you want. Greek yogurt or vegan yogurt, as long as it's plain and not sweetened or flavored. That would be kind of weird. And then spelt flour. All right, so the first step to making the flatbreads is heating up 1/2 cup of water. We're gonna add just 1 teaspoon of sugar into the water. Add your yeast. So we're gonna set this to the side now while we make our garlic butter. So I like to do, maybe 4 to 5 cloves, depending on how big they are. I like garlic. We like garlic in our house. So do it to your taste. And you can dice these how fine or big as you like. Now let your butter melt on the stove. Once it's sizzling but not burning, add your garlic and turn the heat off and just let it sit. Once you've let your yeast and sugar and hot water sit for 15 minutes, it should look something like this. And so now we're gonna add 2 cups of the spelt flour to this mixture. And when you're making these, it may vary a little bit, so you may add more than 2 cups if it's too wet, but from my experience making these, 2 cups is about enough. All right, so 2 cups of the flour go in there, and then we're gonna put 1/4 cup of the yogurt, so any yogurt of your choice. That goes in there. I'm gonna do just a dash of salt, but you can do salt to taste. If you want it a little more salty, a little less salty, put which one in there. And then we're gonna do just about 1 scoop or 1 tablespoon of the garlic butter into the dough mixture. And we're gonna mix all of that together. I start with a spoon, but you're gonna have to get your hands dirty and mix with your hands because we're gonna have to knead this a bit. All right, so I got that mixed together fairly well, but before I go to the board, let's put a little bit of flour on the board where we're gonna knead that. All right, and get in there with your hands. We're just trying to get it roughly incorporated to get all of the flour out of the bowl. And if it does end up being a little too dry, you can always add a little more water or a little more flour. And now we're just gonna knead this for a few minutes. Okay, so once you've kneaded the dough for 2 to 3 minutes, what you're really looking for is for it to spring back a little bit. All right, and then you're gonna put that ball of dough back in your bowl, and we're gonna put a little bit more of that garlic oil on top. And this is just gonna help it not dry out when it's rising. You wanna get in there with your hands, make sure it's coated on all sides, and just cover it with a towel. And that's gonna sit for usually about 1.5 hours to 2 hours until it's doubled in size. So it's been about 1 hour and 45 minutes and the dough is risen about double its size. So now you're going to take this dough out on a lightly dusted surface, yes. And make sure you get everything out of the bowl. Sometimes a little bit will stick because you have that butter on the bottom. And we're just gonna press this down. We recently moved, so I don't know where the rolling pin went, but a jar will work, a glass will work. And we're just gonna roll this out until it's about maybe half an inch high and get it ready for its second proof. I think that's what it's called. It's second time to rise. And I'm gonna cut this into about 8 sections, but we're only gonna get 7. So we're gonna just take these, roll a little bit. I may take out a little bit from each just to make them as even as I can. I'm gonna sprinkle it just lightly with a little bit more of the flour. All right, and then that's the next step. Then we're just gonna cover that with a towel. So it's been about 15 minutes with the second proof here, and as you can see, they've risen a little bit, which is perfect. So before I roll these all out, and you wanna keep the flour mostly on the board, I'm just gonna cut, roughly chop, let's say about half a cup of fresh cilantro. And I love cooking with cilantro. It's a big, big staple in all the meals that we have in our house. It has tremendous health benefits. You're gonna wanna roll these out pretty thin. I like to roll these out kind of long oval type shapes, but if you want to do more circular type shapes, they're your flatbreads. You can do what you want. Pretty nice with this. So when I have it mostly rolled out per flatbread, that's when I'll add the cilantro. And you're just gonna add that directly onto the top there, and then roll it out a little bit more just to press in the cilantro into the bread. And if some of it comes off, that's okay too. Now, while you're rolling the flatbreads, or before, turn on your pan, and you wanna let your pan sit for a while because you want it to be very hot when you put the flatbreads on. And when you put the flatbreads on, they will bubble. That's what you're looking for. Flip. It's about 2 to 3 minutes per side. And once it is kind of charred like that, you're gonna put it in your pan and then use that amazing garlic butter that you made earlier and put that on top. And voila, you have amazingly delicious flatbreads.
What is that?
So it's a flatbread we made yesterday with some raw milk, white cheddar cheese, half of an avocado, and some pepper. It's so, so good.